You know, there's a lot of things that he does that I don't understand. But this one, this was at the top. I mean, especially considering the kind of week that I just experienced, it was almost unimaginable. It's going to be even hard to explain it. But then on the seventh day, he called it Sunday. He did something I never saw coming. Now, in order to understand what I'm talking about, I got to take you back to day one. It was called Monday. Before Monday, everything was nothing because there wasn't anything until anything turned into something. It was almost like this bright light out of nowhere just appeared. And as the light shone, these two new dimensions were revealed. One was called heaven. The other one was called the earth. And that day, all of a sudden, what used to be vast void and darkness now had a day and a night, an evening and a morning. And that was Monday. And then Tuesday was like waking up from a dream. I felt like I was in the movie Inception. And of course, I was the star, Leonardo DiCaprio, but that's beside the point. The point is, I couldn't tell what was real and what was my imagination because the land and the water began to separate. And as it separated into one, into two, this thing in the sky appeared, this dome-like image. He called it sky. And then at the end of the day, before the day ended, we ate tacos because it was the first Taco Tuesday. And then there's Wednesday. Wednesday, all these things started growing up out of the ground. Odd, I've never seen it before. Weird, different shapes and sizes. Some are really tall. They kind of look like this. Okay, that's the best image that I can give to you today. But on the ends of these things were fruits and vegetables. Some had seeds, all of which were edible for eating. Wednesday, Thursday, oh my goodness, Thursday, up in that dome-like image called the sky were these two hanging balls. One was larger than the other, really, really hot. It governed the day. The other one was smaller in size, but in the backdrop of a black night, it illuminated everything. Then there's Thursday. All of a sudden, things appeared in the sky that began to fly, and even in the waters, more of these small little things. Some were large, some were big. And as it turns out, if you can actually catch one of the small ones and you put it in some batter and deep fry it, a little bit of tartar sauce, now that thing's good too. Then there's Saturday. Saturday, now there's four-legged creatures all roaming the earth. All different shapes again, all different sizes, and come to find out, some of those taste pretty good too. Especially the small little pudgy ones, you know, the ones with the nose that look like this. Man, you catch one of these, they got some good meat inside of this one right there. And then at the end of Saturday, when I thought he was done, the Creator created something different than the other 6 days. This creation was actually in His image. He called them male and female. And as He created this male and female on Saturday, He stepped back and looked at everything that He had created. He said these words I'll never get out of my mind. He said, "It is good." He went to bed on Saturday. We wake up on Sunday. I'm ready for the next thing that He's going to create. But then, that's when He did it. He did the thing that I never saw coming. Now, church, as the Bible can do, the narrator has just brought us into the back door of Genesis chapter 2. And watch what God, the Creator, did on the seventh day. Look at this. Genesis chapter 2, it reads this. By the seventh day, God had finished the work that He had been doing. So on the seventh day, He what? Come on, 10:30. He rested from all His work. Church, that's been the question that I've been trying to figure out all week. Why did God rest? You ever thought about this? I mean, like theologically, deeply, have you ever thought, why did the Creator of the universe actually rest? Was He tired? Is this like a power 20-minute nap that He had to get, you know? Did He have a big meal and He's reclining on the sofa? Maybe all the energy from creating the world depleted from His system and He had to rest for rejuvenation. Why did God rest? Well, more on that in a minute. Today, we're in part 4 of a 5-part collection of messages that we started at the beginning of the year. And if you're maybe new walking in for the very first time, we're just really allowing the Word of God to speak into how a lot of us feel inside. Matter of fact, if I was to ask you in the lobby today, how are you? If you were honest with me, you would probably say something to the effect of, I'm good, I'm busy, I'm tired. Oh man, it's great, beginning of the year, I got a lot going on right now. And so busy is not bad, and a full calendar, nothing wrong with it. Jesus had a full calendar. Jesus was busy, but He was never hurried. He was never rushed. He was always present wherever He went, or what we're calling in this series, hurry, rush, repeat. That's how so many of us feel inside. So we're talking about how do we break the cycle of busy and learn the rhythm of Jesus? Because if you're not picking this up yet, life will always have more demands than you can deliver. Okay, I know you think you're Superwoman, you're Superman, but life always will demand more from you than you can actually deliver on. There's always gonna be more. Like more opportunity, more sales, more emails, more drama, more demands, more people's expectation, more crazy. You get rid of one cray, the new cray walks. I mean, there's always gonna be more than you have time for. And so how do we, in the words of Jesus, not chase our potential, but really actually embrace a life of purpose? And you'll never become the person that God has died for you to become without doing what God did on the seventh day, which is rest. Matter of fact, Jesus' whole ministry, did you know, was built on this? If you're not familiar with Jesus, I think you're gonna like this. Here's what he said, Matthew chapter 11, verse 28. Let's start here. Jesus said, "Come to me, all who are weary and burdened." Man, are you burdened? Are you tired today? Are you wearied? Are you strung out on life? Disappointed, unfulfilled? You're in the right place. He says, and I'm gonna give you rest. Take my yoke upon you, learn from me, for I'm gentle and I'm humble in heart, and you will find rest for your soul. For my yoke, that's the second time he's used this word yoke. Yoke is an idiom for a Jewish teacher. Basically, in ancient Judeo, every rabbi had a yoke. They had a way that they interpreted the Old Testament law and the Torah. So the yoke isn't what would have been shocking to the first century audience. What would have been shocking is the kind of yoke Jesus had. Look how it comes next. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Could it be that if your relationship with Jesus is anything but light and easy, then maybe you're not doing it right? Yeah, today, if we really want to get off the hamster wheel of this thing called busyness of life, maybe we got to slow down and talk about rest. I want to title the message today, if you'd like to take notes, from really what God is asking us since the beginning in Genesis 2, what Jesus is reiterating in Matthew chapter 11. Here it is. Why are you restless? Why are you so restless? I don't know if you've ever fallen victim to this, but I find myself from time to time falling victim to marketing ad campaigns. Okay, yeah, the murmuring under your breath. You too? All right, this is good. Come on, some of you got the Gazelle in your garage. You got the Bowflex hidden in a drawer, in a closet somewhere. Some of you bought a posture corrector because you thought you're okay. Yeah, we've all done this. We've all fallen victim. You know how it is, right? Where you're just minding your own business. You're scrolling on the gram, ain't trying to bother nobody, when all of a sudden, it's like you black out and you wake up and you're in the checkout cart getting ready to purchase a $290 pillow in the shape of a cube. You didn't even realize you needed a pillow in the shape of a cube, but apparently you've been sleeping with the wrong shape of a pillow your entire life. Next thing you know, $299 later, there's a pillow that looks like a cube at your doorstep. This is all hypothetical. Not saying this happened to me, right? But we do this, we fall victim. And I think it's because good marketing companies are good for a reason. They're not selling you a product, they're selling you an experience. So they've convinced you that there's something missing from your life. And if you buy our product, this will fill the void of what's missing in your life. And we do it. Matter of fact, have you ever noticed how commercials aren't really selling the products anymore? I mean, matter of fact, today, it's football season, right? So we got playoff football today, Super Bowl next week. Pay attention to these commercials. While the Bengals are beating the Chiefs, right? Okay, what do the Chiefs and Chick-fil-A have in common? Both are closed on Sunday. Okay, I'm done. I promise, I'm done. But pay attention, though, to these commercials. Because you'll notice 10% of the commercial is actually the product. That's it. The other 90 it's a story trying to tell you why something's missing out of your life. So I just think because Super Bowl's coming and they're going to spend, $2 million on 30 seconds, let's just see how good you are at spotting what the product is in some commercials. So here's what we're going to do. I've got 2 commercials that I'm about to show you. I'm going to narrate what the commercial is, and then at the end, you've got to determine, online, you as well, what the product actually is. All right, we good? All right, here we go. Let's start with this first one. It's a beautiful morning. The sun's coming up, a brand new day, nothing but expectation on the horizon. Waking up after camping, having a nice breakfast on the dew of the ground. Sun in the background, family comes down getting ready. Boy looks out the window, sees girl, heart flutters, smiles on his face, sits back down to eat breakfast. Okay, that's a real commercial, okay, what you just saw. Any takers? What is that? We're a talkback church. Anybody? Vitamins? He got it. if you said Nutella, then you'd be right. Give it up for my man on the front. Some of you are like, hold up, I didn't even see Nutella in the commercial. And that's the point. They're not selling you a chocolate breakfast spread. They're selling you rest, tranquility. And that's a good thing, because I've had Nutella, and it is not life-changing. I think these marketers know, like, what are we gonna sell? Because it ain't gonna be this spread. And they don't have to. They don't have to sell you a chocolate spread. No, because they're gonna sell you satisfaction, youthful like feelings in the gut when the day starts. That's what they're selling. All right, I got another one. This one's gonna be harder, just gonna warn you. Here we go. It's evening. The day has just been done. Everybody tucked in for the night. Probably a dad turning off all the lights in the house, more than likely. There's a calmness in the air, a breeze in the city. Nice little spring breeze hitting the tree, stars out at night, all is well, moon is shining. Kids nestled in bed, new day ahead of them, opportunity is nothing but in front of them. Any idea what that is? ADT security, that's a good one. Well, if you said maybe under your breath, Ameriprise Financial, then you'd be right. That's what, you know what they're telling you? Oh, invest your money with us and you'll have peace of mind. Go to sleep at night because we got your money working while you're resting. Now, here's the thing, okay. And you're gonna see this more and more now that I've made you aware of this. These companies are attempting to monetize our restlessness. That's really what they're doing. It's brilliant. They're great at it. They know how restless you are, so they're trying to make money on our restlessness. Oh yeah, so what do? Like a fish, we take the bait. We buy it, we click it, we try it, we apply it, only to be frustrated that it didn't actually deliver on the promise that we thought that it would. And maybe it's because, I think I know why, they're offering you and I a physical solution to a spiritual problem. Have we ever stopped to consider that maybe our restlessness is more spiritual than it is physical? And if that's actually the case, then you can't meet spiritual needs in physical ways. Oh, we try it, don't we? Oh, we try it. We try it with substance. We try it with money. We try it with materialism, with sex, with relationships, with kids. We'll try all these physical things when there's a spiritual void. But you'll never meet a spiritual need in physical ways. Why? Why are you so restless? And maybe it's as simple as the fact that we just don't know how to rest. Maybe the reason why we're so restless is we're not good at resting. It's the reason why you can be on vacation, but your mind is at the office. It's why you were at your kid's ball game yesterday, but you're checking emails on your phone in the stands. It's why you're in church right now, but your mind is thinking about all the things on your to-do list that you got to get done before Monday hits your week. It's why you wake up in the morning and you got a good night's sleep, but you're still tired inside. Could it be that we just don't know how to rest? Or what the Bible calls Sabbath. Today, if you're really serious about getting off this hamster wheel of hurry, rush, repeat, then we got to do a deep Bible study on what the Sabbath really is, this day of rest, something that God did in the fabric of creation. So if you'd like to kind of know where I'm going, here's the roadmap. We're going to talk about what is the Sabbath, why do we Sabbath, and then how do we Sabbath? So let's start with the what. What actually is this word Sabbath? Well, if you want to know what something is, and we should do a little word study on what it actually means. So the word Sabbath comes from a Hebrew word, Shabbat. Everyone say Shabbat. It's great Hebrew. And Shabbat literally means to stop, to delight. So it's this word that has a dual meaning because it has a dual purpose. So it starts with you stopping. Like one day out of the 7, you just shut it down, you stop. You stop working, you stop striving, you stop producing, you stop drama, you stop scrolling, you stop buying, you stop worrying, you stop. And in the process, you are reminding yourself, I'm not a machine, I'm a human being. So God builds into the fabric of DNA Shabbat. Look at it again, Genesis chapter 2. Remember the question? Why did God rest? Look at it. By the 7th day, God had finished the work he had been doing. So on the 7th day, he rested from all his work. Did you catch that? God, the creator of the universe, the giver of salvation and life, rested. I know. Okay, just lean in, all right? Because some of you are ready to like just push back, aren't you? You're like, yeah, must be nice to be God. But like down here on planet Earth, okay? Like I got this new job and it's very demanding and I always gotta be on call. Rest? Are you kidding me? I would die I'd pay you money for rest. But I'm raising these 3 little kids that are all under the age of 6. Pastor, have you ever raised a toddler under the age of 6? If you did, you would know that if they don't stop, I don't stop. I'm a single mom. I got dealt a bad hand. But guess what? I gotta work 2 jobs now. I gotta work 3 jobs. I'm a senior in high school. I'm trying to get into college. You know how competitive it is? To get into college, I gotta get grants. I gotta get scholarships. I gotta do extracurricular activities. So right now in my senior year, I have to have a no days off mentality. So here on planet Earth, I gotta get some stuff done. Whew. Y'all feel that? Yeah. Okay. Bring your excuse right here. You ready? God rested. And in his resting answers the question as why did God rest? Did you see it? Because God had completed all of the work that he did that week. So he literally has this moment on the 7th day where he stops and he looks back on the things he did get done and he rests. He delights in his work. Oh my goodness, I wonder what it would do for your soul. If, I don't know, maybe one day a week, you just stopped and on that day you looked back on your week and all the things that you did get done and you delighted in the Lord and you delighted in everything that God did through you that you did accomplish. Hey, I know you didn't get everything done, but you got something done. Come on, you might not have folded every load of laundry, but you got 2 loads folded. Good job. Yeah, you didn't close every sale, but you closed 1 sale. You didn't work out all 5 days, but you worked out half a day. You didn't cross everything off your to-do list, but you crossed something off your list. And God's like, it's good for the soul to look back and stop focusing on all the things that you didn't get done and take a moment and delight in me and all the things that you did accomplish. Wow, it's beautiful, isn't it? So imagine it like this. Imagine a car. Your life is a car. And just like on a car, the front windshield is much larger than the rearview mirror. Why? Because we're forward driving people. We've got things to do. I got places to go, accomplishes, task, legacy, and hear me, none of that's bad. Work is holy. God created you to work. Just don't let it become your God. So there's this windshield. God knows you're driving forward, looking out of the front, but there's a rearview mirror, and it's small for a reason. And God's like, hey, how about, I don't know, once a week, you just look in the rearview mirror and allow me to remind you of just how far I've brought you, that where you used to be before my grace. You might not be where you want to be, but at least I'm not where I am today. God, you are doing a work in my life. So God, I thank you for how far you've brought me. Thank you for the progress in my parenting. Thank you for the progress in my marriage. Thank you for the fact that I didn't quit. I didn't give up. I feel like the lightning God right now. You didn't give up on me and I didn't give up on you. So Lord, I'm going to look back and say, thank you for what you've done. Oh, come on, you can delight in him right now. Whew. I'm not just gonna focus on all the things I'm not getting done. That will never end. So God says, I built into a Shabbat, a moment that if you just stop and look back, wow, thank you, Lord, and delight in the presence of God. And in so, God develops this rhythm of life. Did you know that there's a synchronated pace that your soul was meant to thrive? There's a beat, there's a tempo. And if you can stay in that tempo of the grace of God, your life can thrive. Let me illustrate it like this. If you were to ask me what's my favorite instrument in a band, it'd be a hard one, but I would say it's got to be the drums. Love the drums. The bass is a close second. I mean, slap at a bass, when you get a good bass player in there, and the front of house got it dialed in like they always do every week, and you just feel that thing thudding in your heart, man. It's kicking that AFib back into arrhythmia. It's great. You don't need a heart doctor. Sit in the front row. It's just, don't do that. Go to a heart doctor. But you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a close second. But the drums, I love the drums. My dad was a drummer. I played a little bit of drums when I was a kid. There's just something about the drums. And this is one of the things, honestly, I think so unique about Lifepointe, because we are blessed with some incredible drummers, aren't we? I mean, and they're all volunteers. Did you know that? They give up their time. We got one on the front row right here. Like last week, he had a 16-year-old drumming for us. And so I don't have a favorite drummer. I think they're all incredible. But honestly, no one's better than Lifepointe's very own April Morrison. Would you help me welcome her back to the kit, April? So April is the real deal, honestly. Not only is she incredible talent and uses that gift to help us lead us into worship, but man, she has a heart for the Lord. It's incredible. And up until this past year, 15 years, you were a middle school teacher, which, yeah, that's amazing. I did not have cool teachers like her. No offense, when I was in middle school. So, all right, lay a beat for us. I want to show this real quick. Just give us a good beat. There you go. All right, now, see if you can find the rhythm. Come on, white people, I'll help you. There we go. There, you find it? All right, catch it? Feel it? I'm telling you, when there's a beat, you can't help but to move, right? And you're like, I'm like vibing to it. It just does something to you. So keep the beat going. In a band, the drummer is often referred to as the bus driver. So they're not the one leading from the mic, but they're the one driving the tempo, the speed in which the song was designed to play. And if the bus driver, the drummer, gets off, everybody else gets off. Now, ask any worship leader, ask any lead singer, they will tell you they don't want a drummer who can do all the fancy combo tricks. Now, April can do the fancy stuff. Give him a fancy combo. Okay, she can do that. But what makes April so valuable to a team and to a worship leader is she keeps everything in the pocket. You ever heard of that? She's keeping everybody in the pocket. Now, when Genesis chapter 1 and 2 was written in Hebrew, it's poetry. It's actually written with a rhythmatic beat to it. There's a pocket of creation. And when you stay in the pocket, the rhythm of your soul can thrive. So God's like, he's like, there's day and there's night. There's morning and there's evening. He created, it was good. There's male, I'm not gonna rap, don't worry, there's female. Those days are done. But it's written with a rhythm. So watch this. When you stay in the rhythm of grace, the pocket in which your life was meant to design, your life will thrive. But when you get your life off tempo and you're over here running on this beat count, God's not changing. Your life is running so fast, it's only a matter of time until you're gonna burn out. Help me thank April one more time. Thanks, April. Love it. Let's just pray and go home. We just had church, I think. I think we're good. So God's like, I've built into the rhythm, the cadence of my creation, an intentional day of Shabbat, where you got to stop and delight in all the things that you have done. But look at Genesis chapter 2, verse 3 now, because there's a second part to this verse. Then God blessed the seventh day and he made it holy, because on it he rested from all the work of creating that he had done. Did you notice that? God blessed a day of the week. There are only 3 things in creation that God blessed: animals, humans, and a day. You want to know what all 3 of those have in common? All 3 have the ability to procreate life. Oh, I'm coming for your thinking today. I'm challenging you on a different side. You get the animals and the humans, but did you know that when you Shabbat, when you Sabbath, it actually reproduces life in you? Joy in you, energy in you, peace in you, perspective in you. And here all along, I just thought it was just another day on the calendar. Wow, what a gift. All right, let's talk about why Sabbath. Why Sabbath? So why did God create this? Well, in order to understand this, let me take you to the very first time the word Sabbath appears in the Bible. Exodus chapter 20. You can turn there or it'll be up on the screen here. Exodus chapter 20. God is giving the nation of Israel the 10 commandments. The big ones, the big 10. Here's what he says. He says, remember the Sabbath day by keeping it holy. So let's just stop already and realize, oh my goodness, like in the top 10, along with don't murder and don't steal and don't covet your neighbor's wife and possessions, is a command for you and I to rest. Yet it seems to be the one that nobody feels convicted about not doing. All right, let's keep going. Remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the 7th day is the Sabbath to the Lord your God, and on it you shall do no work. I love this next part. Neither you, nor your sons, nor your daughters, nor your male or female servants, nor animals, nor any foreigners residing in your towns. God's like, I know you humans, and you're going to technically take the day off, but you're going to have all your minions doing all the work for you to keep the production line going. He's like, no, shut it down. Your foreigners, your animals, your children, everything stops. He says, verse 11, for in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth. This is Genesis 2. The sea and all that was in them, but he rested on the seventh. Therefore, the Lord blessed the Sabbath day. There it is again. And he made it holy. Why did he give us the Sabbath? Well, let me give you a little bit of context. Context is really important with this. The nation of Israel is getting ready to become a free nation for the first time in 400 years. The beauty of this is you don't have to believe in the Bible for you to believe this. This is proven history and secular documents. Go back and look. The nation of Israel had a very rough lineage, constantly in oppression and slavery. This period of time, they've been under the emperor of Egypt's reign for 400 years. Which again, I know is hard for us to compute, but just imagine for a moment, the best we can, that your parents and your grandparents and your parents' parents and great-great-great-grandparents have never known freedom. They've never known choice. They've never known the opportunity to own a home, to make their own decisions. The Israelites were literally viewed as a means to an end. So if you got sick, who cares? Throw you to the side. If you died, throw you in a hole. Next man up mentality. Egypt was hard on the nation. And so it's into this culture that God gives them these new laws of what it actually looks like to live in freedom. These aren't rules. This is a guardrail to actually live out the life that God designed them to live. But he doesn't allow them to go straight from Egypt into the promised land, the land of Canaan. Instead, the Bible says that there's a 40-year period where God lives with Israel. I mean, if Israel would have went straight from Egypt to the promised land, I don't think they would have known how to operate and live as free people. So think about this. It took God one evening to deliver Israel out of Egypt, but it would take him 40 years to get Egypt out of Israel. Hey, God saves you in a moment, but it takes the rest of your life for him to sanctify you. Oh, the grace of God can sever off the authority of sin over your life in one instant, but it will take the rest of the journey of life for you to understand the freedom that you have in Christ, that I'm not a slave to my sin. I'm not a slave to my past. I'm not a slave to other people's expectations. I'm a son of God. I'm a daughter of God. Thank you, Lord, that you freed me in a moment, but if you don't follow Jesus, you'll never live in the freedom that you actually have. That's right, I got it. That's for me today. No, that's for me. Because just like Israel, what do? We just keep going back to Egypt. We go back to the sin. We go back to the thing that God has freed us from. And so it's into this setting that God gives them this rhythm of rest. Why? Here it is. Here's one reason. It's to remind you and I that you're not a slave. You're not a slave. Church, you're not a slave to the dollar. You're not a slave to your job. You're not a slave to people's expectations, and you're not a slave to your past. You have choice. You have freedom. You have life. You have liberty. So something happens internally when you shut it down and you delight in God one day, every single week. It's you telling you, I'm not a slave. I'm a son. I'm a daughter. The second reason why God gives us the Sabbath that we see here is because rest really is a test of our trust in God. I think rest is maybe one of the greatest tests of our willingness. Do we really trust God? Again, back to the context. You know, Moses delivers this like, y'all are going to shut it down. Like one day, that's what it means to be free. I can only imagine maybe some of the leaders, got Moses together on the side of the mountain and were like, Mo, we got an issue here. Actually, it's more of a point of clarification. You mean to tell us, okay, that on the seventh day, if there's still food and fruit on the vine, we just leave the fruit? Moses is like, yep. Okay, so if there's food and crop in the field, we just gonna leave it in the field, even though the vultures and the sun might destroy the food, and we're just gonna walk away? And Moses is like, that's right, because God's trying to teach you and I something. He's trying to help us to understand that God can do more in 6 days than you can do for yourself in 7. God can do way more in 6 than you can do for yourself in 7. Because there's always going to be more emails, there's going to be more fruit on the vine and more opportunities. But God says, do you trust me enough to rest? Do you trust me in your finances to rest? Do you trust me in your career to rest? Parents, do you trust God with your kids and the issues that they're going through to still rest and to delight in God? Do you trust me? Because just as the biological rhythm of the earth, there is a 24-hour cycle in every day. And the sun's gonna come up and then it's gonna go down. Just like your body will wake up, but at the end of that 24-hour period, your body demands that you shut it down for at least 6, preferably 8, maybe 9 hours of sleep. But if you deny your body of the physiological biology, it's only a matter of time till your body will shut itself down. So God's like, while you're sleeping, I'm still working. Yeah, the sun goes down, but I don't go down anymore. I'm watching over your life. Not to mention, God's like, I do some of my best work while you're asleep. Did y'all know that? God will do listen to me, he will do some of his greatest work while you're sleeping. That's Bible. I'll show it to you. God gave Adam Eve when he was what? Asleep. Oh, come on. Every man knows that was the greatest nap in human history. Think about it, sir. You went to bed single and alone, and you woke up from that nap rested, laying next to a beautiful butt-naked woman. You were like, whoa, man. That's what I'm gonna call her. I'm gonna call her a woman. Like, that's the best nap a man's ever had, okay? And I know we're gonna have some men going home today trying to get a Genesis 2 nap. I don't know if it's gonna work. Did you do the dishes? Did you vacuum I don't know. Okay. So God gave Adam and Eve, that's the point. While he was asleep, in the book of Genesis, God gave Joseph a dream of leadership while he was asleep. He called the prophet Samuel to be a prophet while he was asleep. Okay, let's go to the New Testament. How about Joseph, the earthly father of Jesus, decided to stay with the mother of Jesus, Mary, because an angel appeared to him while he was asleep. Jesus made it through a storm asleep. Post-resurrection, God, through an angel, came to Peter while he was asleep and told him that this gospel good news is not just for the Jews, but it's also for the Gentiles. Oh, I wonder, what could God do in your life while you're sleeping, but you've convinced yourself that you somehow have to be awake in order for God to work? As if God needs your help. So you're out here running around trying to tell God why you got to be awake, and God's like, I can do more while you're asleep than while you're awake. That's what the psalmist meant in Psalm 121, verse 1. Here's what the psalmist says. I love this. It's a promise. He who watches over you will not slumber. For indeed, he who watches over Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. God's like, when you go offline, I stay online. So I got to shut you down for 6 to 8 hours every day just to remind you that you're not God. Like, in the words of one of our worship leaders, JP, God's pretty good at God. He's got it. So you need to shut it down. What a beautiful thing. So how do we do this? Let me give you what a Sabbath is in a statement. If you like to take notes or just take a picture of the screen, here it is. The Sabbath is an intentional 24-hour period every 7 days where I stop producing and I fill my soul with deep joy. Doesn't that sound great? So how do we do it? How do we make the switches and the changes of life? Let me just give you 2 thoughts here. Here's the first one I would tell you. If you're actually going to Sabbath, you have to be intentional with the day. You got to be intentional with the day. And don't be legalistic. It doesn't have to be Sunday. I mean, maybe your work rhythm is on Monday through Friday, like most of us, so it makes sense to do Sunday. So you're gonna, sleep in and go to the noon service and eat a big breakfast. I'm kidding, I love you. And you're gonna be intentional about this. Because people who actually honor the Sabbath live the other 6 days different. So I have to work hard so I can rest well. And don't ever apologize for resting well. Because I'm delighting and I'm rejoicing in what God did that past week. And it reminds my soul. So you gotta be intentional. Here's the second thing I would tell you is that Sabbath, how do we do it? Well, it's a day of rest and worship. Like, it's not just a day off. Man, I don't know about you, but sometimes my days off are more busy in my work week. I can't wait for Monday to come. And so it's not just a day off, it's about rest. It's about worship. Worship is not walking around listening to, worship music and a sackcloth, cloth over your head. It's not none of that. No, we're not wailing, okay? That's not what this is. Worship is you connecting with God. That's worship. So maybe it's like, I'm gonna go on a walk on my Sabbath and I'm just gonna stop and notice the beauty of his creation, things that I just walk by and I take for granted. I'm gonna do some things with my family. I'm gonna do something that fills my soul with joy, that replenishes me for another week that's ahead of me, and eat a good meal on your Sabbath, the kind with the calories and the carbs. eat that meal like a cookie in a skillet in the oven with a scoop of ice cream. Like, yeah, it's just a day where I rest and I worship God. And parents, let me speak to you if I can. No one's going to teach your kids this other than you. Now, they're not going to get this from culture. Matter of fact, this society is just moving quicker. It's moving faster, less vacation time, less maternity time, less time with family. I mean, it's just going to keep going that way. Who's going to teach them this if you're not going to? Now, this hit home pretty hard a couple weeks ago. My middle daughter, her name is Rosalie, she's 9. She's been asking all these questions about salvation and baptism and the stuff that you pray for as a parent. And so my wife has been taking Rosalie out just one-on-one for some intentional discipleship time. And she's just walking through like themes of the Bible and answering questions that she has. And so they got to Exodus 20, 10 Commandments. So they're kind of walking through all the 10 Commandments when we come to the Sabbath. And Rosalie, as innocent as only a child can do, just simply says, Mom, what's the Sabbath? And so she did what I just did for you guys. She's like, oh, it's a day of stopping and rejoicing. It's where you look back and you thank God for all you've done and you just stop producing and you just enjoy the day. And then with the most concerned look on her face, she says, Mom, why don't we do that? I mean, we don't murder, we don't steal, like we don't do the other things. Are we concerned about rest? Why don't we do that? So in the words of a 9-year-old, I leave you with this. Why don't we do that? It's almost as if God has given you a gift. And if you've been like me, you've placed it on a shelf. And when you don't open the gift, you don't even know what's in it. And when you don't know what's in it, you can't apply it. If you can't apply it, you can't live in the rhythm of it. And I'm telling you today, it's on a low shelf. And this idea of Sabbath is for all of us. So I'm just going to give you a moment. We're just going to create space. I just encourage you to stay in your seat, but we're going to sing this song over you. I want you just to be thinking about, Lord, what are you trying to show me in this moment? What am I hiding from? Maybe busy is keeping me hiding from allowing you to do the work that you want to do in me. So I just want to pray for you and tell you that there's a gift. It's up to you if you're going to live free. So God, we love you. We thank you for the rhythm of life, a rhythm of rest. Your yoke is easy, your burden is light. And so God, I pray right now in these few moments that we share together that you just begin to speak to us. What would it look like? What would it look like to pause one day out of every 7 and just look back and rejoice in all you have done? To be seen, to be known, to be whole, to be human. Thank you, God. Amen.
Again, my mind racing, and I can't seem to win all these crazy thoughts and feelings. It's like it never ends until your voice breaks through my noise. And I know I am not alone. I'm not alone. You will fight my battles if I would just be still. So why would I keep running when you're right here? I'll just be quiet and let you speak through the silence. Here I am, no more hiding. You are in this moment, I won't fight it. I'll be quiet. I don't need to know what comes next. Tomorrow's in your hands. I can trust you with my future, 'cause you're already there. I hear your voice call me forward, and I know I am not alone. I'm not alone.